Okay, a very good afternoon to all of you who are joining us from India, and a very good morning to everyone who is joining us from Europe. My name is Samrat Kumar. In association with the EU delegation to India, we are very happy to bring to you this very exclusive webinar, this Horizon Europe Brokerage event on circular solutions for textile value chains. These are two calls which are currently open under the Horizon Europe program, and we are very excited about this uh, calls which allow a participation from Europe, but also from the rest of the world, here in our case with India. And without any further delay, it's an enormous pleasure for me to welcome our opening remarks speakers. We have with us today Mr. Pierrick Filon-Achida, who is the counselor and head of Research Innovation section at the EU delegation to India. Pierrick, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining. And what do you have to say to us about this very interesting call on textile value chains, and what potential do we have here for EU-India collaboration? Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon to the colleagues in India, and I believe some colleagues in Europe are also online today. So it's a pleasure to explain you a little bit what the EU is after. Actually, it's a pleasure to see Ms. Rup Rashi, the Textile Commissioner. I met you, ma'am, a few months back. We have not met again, but I'm happy to see you again in online, and I look forward to see you also in Delhi again. Also, we will have the colleagues from Brussels, Dr. Martin Policard, because the idea is today to present you something extremely concrete. So today we are not going to discuss about the textile or circular economy strategy, but a concrete way to bring European companies, European universities together with Indian companies, Indian universities along two topics that are financed on the EU side by the DG Research. The two calls will be explained, and the purpose of the brokerage today with you, Samrat, and Vivek in my team is to tell you how to make a proposal, how to make sure that you are on scope of what is expected, how you build a consortium, how you find partners. And today it's a very collective way of working. Nowadays we are always online, but it's a way to know each other. So we will try to combine expertise both in India and in Europe, because we have to make mixed teams. It's not the first time that my office, the EU delegation to India, is advertising call for proposals. We have done it in many sectors, in water, in health, in robotics, in AI, but it's the first time that we want to bridge with Indian government and Indian stakeholder on this essential economic sector, which is textile. Textile is equally important in Europe. We have a problem of pollution. We need to go towards biomaterials. We need research. We still need research and innovation solutions. So that's why I'm very happy to work. It's the first time for me to work on this domain. I'm not at all a specialist, but I welcome that all the colleagues around the call here. I can see 30 colleagues. Maybe it's a small modus. It's a small nodus. But from the 30, maybe out of today could come 2 or 3 joint proposals. And the joint proposals will be looked at for possibility of financing. Even if today the objective is not directly to write the document for the proposal, it's definitely to discuss with Martin, my colleague, and Ms. Rup and others, what must be in this joint effort. So that's it, Samrat. It was very brief, but the idea is very clear. We want to go for 2, 3 joint examples of pilots of joint projects with the best companies in Europe and in India on this domain, and with academic support. So back to you, and I really appreciate all the colleagues who are going to speak today for their time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pirik. And you already welcomed Textile Commissioner, Ms. Roop Rashi, who is joining us here today and also will speak on behalf of the Indian government about this topic, but also about the potential for the collaboration between Europe and India on finding maybe the right partners today who could like apply for this call and make an impact on this subject. Thank you so much, Textile Commissioner, ma'am, for joining us, and we would very much welcome your opening remarks. Thank you. Ma'am, you're muted. If you could kindly unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Samrat, Dr. Vivek Dham, Perik, and other colleagues here. I'm very happy to be part of today's webinar, which I realize that we are looking at some kind of way forward in terms of more research partnership. Am I right on that, Vivek? Okay. Now, see, one thing is that here one would like to know that textile as a whole, as a subject, and the way the tapestry is in India, I would request you to also iterate it. Are we looking at full value chain? Are we looking at which component of value chain in terms of, are we looking at change at the fiber level? Or is it a pre-consumer? Or is it post-consumer? We will have to define that. I need clarity on that, because once we look at research partnership, we should be very clear of the focus that we are looking at in terms of R&D. Are we looking at the raw material, processing, manufacturing, that segment? Or and then pre-consumer waste and how to go into recycling for that in terms of developing the models? Or is it post-consumer with collections, with the whole structure of getting back to fiber recycling, both in case of man-made fiber and natural fibers? We need to have that clarity. That is my suggestion to the group here, that please delimit it in terms of exact focus, because there is enough research right now. There are reasonably good insights, I'm sure, domestically as well as internationally, wherein we may actually go to the next step of operationalizing certain models in small ways, rather than getting back to only research. There are models available. We actually need to look at, I'm myself trying for developing a post-consumer model for one of the cities involving the third tier of government, and look at it whether if that works, then how do we escalate it? Though actually in post-consumer model, we have as of now a roadblock in terms of sorting in terms of the fiber to fiber. Though one of the international agencies is asserting as of now that they have some kind of research support or some kind of a scanner, which is already either developed or in the process of being developed, which can help segregation man-made fiber from cotton and the natural fibers, so that fiber to fiber recycling and circularity can be established. But as of now, they have not come back to us either with the product or with the proof of concept. So my first task here with all of you would be to know, are we looking at a synergy among the research organizations, or are you looking at also involving some of the governance structures and the cluster? Because operation of a model would be in a textile cluster. So please define that. And in that case, please also define what kind of model of financing you are looking at. And because government per se would be giving definitely technical support through our agencies, which are already working on this. We have one very dedicated vertical with our textile committee, as well as a lot of textile research institutes who have worked at various verticals of looking at how to manage the textile, what we call waste. So these two things are my tasks to all of you. Now, what I understood from what Parik said was, how do we make the proposal? If we have to do, I would suggest, Vivek, that we reach out to some of the key clusters or key institutions and take them on board to, help them develop the proposal. I, for my part, can take the learnings from here to Textile Committee back. I would have actually liked them to be associated, but right now Secretary is traveling. I would have asked him to join this so that they can develop their project along with European Union, because they work in clusters. They work in all the major textile clusters, and they are already developing, I would say, dedicated tools, either to look at manufacturing side or to look at demand side, supply or demand, both sides. So, but I will take the leadings back from here. But first, I want from you to know what is our focus in terms of developing the financing, the research in which area? Fiber to fiber, or post-consumer waste, pre-consumer or post-consumer textiles?
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Actually, my colleague Martin is going to decode the entire call for proposals, and he will going to explain what are the scope and impact and implementation is expected from these calls. So in after your intervention, he is going to explain all the details. Regarding the financement of the co-funding from the Government of India, we will discuss after the meeting how we can go forward, and we will debrief you what are the procedures we had agreed with the DST, DBT, and Ministry of Earth Sciences, so that we can come to an common understanding. So that is we will work out that. But your points are very valid, and I also request Martin to bit elaborate what are the scope of the calls and what is expected.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vivek. Madam Commissioner, thank you for your introduction, and also to Pierrick for the kind invitation. I'm actually very happy to be able to contribute here to your talks, because I see the high importance of this topic. And also, textiles are one of the major material flows and sectors that we will be focusing on in the Commission as such. So this is extremely good opportunity to be able to share our view and our calls in Horizon Europe program. So thank you very much for this invitation. I have prepared a few slides to go through the actual call. So if you allow me to share those slides directly myself on the screen, that would be very good. So let me look at this. And please tell me if you can see the slides. So I can start with the actual presentation. So I hope you can see them.
Yeah, slides are visible, Martin.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So as I said, we have two specific calls in the current work program 2024, which are dedicated to circular solutions for textiles value chain. That is very good, because in the past we had calls which were more general, let's say for different material streams. Now we're really looking into textiles. Before I go into the actual calls, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of where we are. So in the Horizon Europe program, which you very well know, we have a destination 4 focused on circular economy and bioeconomy sectors. On the slide, you can see the policy context on the left pillar, let's say. So all these important strategies and action plans, such as the European Green Deal, Circular Economy Action Plan, bioeconomy strategy, plastic strategy, industrial strategy, SME strategy. All these play a very important role in this whole story. There is a strategic plan which looks into sustainable and circular management and use of natural resources, as well as the prevention and removal of pollution. And this is something that is at the core of the whole program that we're looking at here. And the impact areas that we want to try to tackle through these actions and through this plan is obviously climate change mitigation and adaptation, enhancing the ecosystem's biodiversity, on land and in water, contribute to the resilience of the EU systems, and not to forget inclusive growth and new jobs opportunities. And last but not least, an important part is an industrial leadership, which we also want to foster through this program. So you see that the policy context is rather pertinent here, and important for framing the whole discussion, of course, as all you will know. What I'm actually very happy about is that we will look today into specific areas of the call. So we're looking into the real content, so that it can help you and help your partners with establishing some proposals. So let me dive directly into the two calls as such. So the first call is called Circular Solutions for Textile Value Chains through Innovative Sorting, Recycling, and Design for Recycling. Here, as Madam Commissioner very rightly asked the question, what are we looking at? Here we're clearly looking at post-consumer waste. Post-consumer waste, pre-consumer waste, we know very well that that's a little bit different story. There's a relatively clean materials. It's a different path. But post-consumer waste is the priority, a target here. That's I would like to underline. So how this topic came through? We have, as I said, the European Green Deal. We have the Circular Economy Action Plan. We have the Industrial Strategy in the EU, which identified the key product value chains, and textiles are one of the key value chains in the transition to circularity. On top of this, important to know is that we have the EU strategy for circular and sustainable textiles. And the most recent document that was published in the summer, I believe this year, is called Transition Pathway for Textiles Ecosystem. So all these documents are putting the framework together. In addition to this, as of January 2025, the member states of the EU will need to set up separate collection systems for textile waste, specifically textile waste, which will be based on the a recast of the Waste Framework Directive. So textiles are one of the focus areas in the recast. Today, as we know, vast majority of textiles and fashion products are practically not collected, not sorted, and not recycled in the EU. They are neither designed to be repaired nor to be remanufactured. So most of the textiles actually become waste and end up in a landfill or exported outside the EU. And that is why we need to stimulate transformation of the value chains. So not only of the individual actors in the chain of the manufacturing or all the stages from the sourcing of the material all the way down, but we need to look in the transformation of the whole value chain within the textiles ecosystem. To do that, we will need to involve raw material suppliers, so all the way from the beginning, from fibers to finished products, different steps of processing, brand owners, retailers, consumers, collectors, waste managers, recyclers, and back to the beginning of the chain to close the loop and close the circle. So this should trigger a systemic change and actually help the sorting and recycling technologies to emerge and to develop a business case for those. And in this whole story, the design for recycling and design for circularity is a key element. This initiative, this call, actually both of those, is aiming to minimize the use of hazardous substances in processing and in the textiles treatment as such. So proposals for this call should demonstrate and deploy innovative solutions for increased quality, non-toxicity, and durability also of secondary textile materials so that we can close the loop and go again.
Martin, I think your slides are stuck. We cannot see the slides moving. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, I forgot to do the clicks on the other screen. Okay, so here you have basically a summary of what I was talking about. So we are looking not only at minimizing the hazardous substances, but we also look into increase of the quality, non-toxicity, and durability of secondary raw materials. In this call, we have 4 expected outcomes as are defined in the Horizon Europe work program, and the proposals of the consortia need to address at least 2 of these 4 expected outcomes. So not necessarily all 4, but at least 2. You can see them here on the right side of the slide. So one expected outcome is a rollout of systemic solutions for textile sorting using innovative digital technologies. So sorting focus. The second expected outcome is looking into feasible solutions for facilitated disintegration to be incorporated in product design, to be able to enable actual recycling to separate the individual elements. Third expected outcome is increased uptake of mechanical recycling solutions. And the fourth possible outcome is rollout of thermomechanical, chemical, or other types of recycling solutions of textiles. Okay. So as a reminder, textiles are the fourth highest pressure category for the use of primary raw materials and water, and fifth highest pressure category for greenhouse gas emissions and a major source of plastics pollution in the production and in the use phase. At the same time, we know that some materials are easier to recycle than others due to the properties and characteristics. So we encourage the research bodies and communities to address variety of materials used in textiles, such as natural, artificial bio-based, synthetic bio-based, and even synthetic petroleum-based, because we will be with them for some time still. As I said, in the past framework programs, we had R&I topics dedicated to textiles. And therefore, we aim at an innovation action with a desired TRL, so technology readiness level 5 to 6 for this specific call. And for this call, we are also encouraging this topic to be clustered with the other projects from the other second call that I will present you right after this one, which is also dedicated to textiles. On the budget, so the budget for this topic is 15 million euros, and we trust that this should allow for about 3 projects to be selected in this. Okay, so that's the first call, and now I will look into.
Martin, your slide has still stuck. Could you please?
Yeah,
try to...
that's correct. Yes. So this is the second call, and I will try to. I only have 3 slides per each of the calls, so it's not very much you have missed besides what I have said. So this is the second call called circular solutions for, again, textile value chain specifically, but this time based on extended producer responsibility. So the EPR schemes. As you see here, it is an innovation action as well. And the indicative budget there is about 14 million euros, which should allow for about 2 projects, so 7 million each. Now, as I mentioned before, the Waste Framework Directive will tackle the treatment of end-of-life textiles, so post-consumer textiles. And the Commission is considering looking into establishment of the EPR scheme, of an EPR scheme for textiles. We want to enable optimal functioning of an EPR scheme for textiles within the EU, and to take into account the commitments of the textile strategy on EPR. Also, through this call, we want to encourage various circularity strategies. So not only looking into recycling, but we want to look into reuse, repair, separate collection, sorting, and of course, recycling of textiles as part of it. But especially, we want to look as well at the other circularity strategies, which need to be taken into account. So proposals in this call should aim to support high quality separate collection, pre-treatment, and recycling of used textiles and textile waste. How? Well, the proposal should tackle identification of material composition. So we're looking into the ways how we can identify what different textile products are made of, what is the composition, so that the identification can help further the decomposition of those materials to enable sorting, to enable recycling, and to enable any remanufacturing later on. And this in wide range of used textile products. The reason is also because different actors in the value chain should be able to make informed decisions, such as consumers, social enterprises, but even also waste managers and operators who are handling that material. So we would like to also see projects which will test innovative labeling of textile products, which would then enable the identification of the material composition using artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, and different types of technologies. And also, and that is important very much here in this context, proposals should also address the impact of textiles coming from outside the EU on the EU market. Okay, here we are looking into, as you can see on the slide on the right, 3 expected outcomes. And in this case, all 3 of those need to be tackled, need to be addressed by the proposals. So first one is looking into recommendations on best innovative solutions for identification of material composition, as I said, of used textiles and textile waste. The second one is looking into recommendations on design for design for recycling for textile products that allows the use of targeted EPR schemes to be able to function. And lastly, the third point is recommendations on policy tools to reach EU greenhouse gas reduction targets by 2050. All right. Sorry. Okay. So I will not repeat what I already said on the importance of the textiles as a high pressure category of products. Again, I will remind you that this is all in the context of the separate collection obligation from January 2025 in the EU for all member states that needs to be put in place. So on the TRL level, the proposal should focus on demonstration of innovative solutions as an innovation action with a desired end TRL 6 to 8. And again, we encourage the proposals of this project, of this topic, to be clustered with the first one that I presented because they're very closely related together. And I think I'm at the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Martin, my first question to you is, you are looking for a blueprint or you are looking for a solution?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam. This is a very, very clear and good question. Thank you for that one. We're looking at operational solutions.
Okay. Now, that is where my problem is. We have almost developed a module for one of our cities involving the urban local bodies, involving IDH, and also looking at an additional aspect which helps textile value chain, that it can generate a lot of micro enterprises at the sorting level. But today, sorting from the blend in terms of different fiber, is there any technology available? Anybody in the house, tell me. Or we have to go by the producer's declaration on the tag.
Yeah, maybe I can start before colleagues can jump in on what they know. For what I can say from my experience here, the call that we have, the first one that we discussed, that I presented, is looking specifically into this area, looking into blended material. So polycotton, not only that, but especially polycotton. There might be some technologies that are being developed that are at certain level of TRL, but they're not mature yet.
Very simple. Do you have scanners to segregate them?
Standards.
Scanners.
Scanners.
Or anything. Only SETI developed something, which I don't know whether it is marketed also or not. A French institution which said that they are developing something. I still want to know whether anything as a product has come in the market which can help our collectors to segregate by scanning the material.
I'm Ola Wallberg. I'm professor from Lund University. there are near EIR solutions for sorting that can actually sort at pretty high speed. I wouldn't say that the sorting is perfect. I mean, if it can see that, okay, we have polyester and cotton here. It can say we have cellulose-based material in one bin, basically. It can't, as I understand it, really well separate viscose from cotton. So it can see cellulose, but it doesn't know if it's viscose or cotton. So, and we are using that material that comes out from that process, sorting process in our research. And it seems good enough for the process that we are investigating, at least.
Doctor, I would like to know, I would like more interface on that. So Vivek, if I could request you to give coordinates of Dr. Professor Ola Welberg, because we ourselves are developing a model for India for one of the cities. And because we are also looking at some kind of handheld scanner where IDH is joining us on that. And we are looking at whether we can do that kind of sorting and then look at treating the sorted the sorted collected material for various application. I mean to say the cotton could go back to fiber. Polyester, yes, can go or can go for some other application. So we would like to be in touch with, even for my, not only your proposal here, but for our projects here, we would like to be in touch. So if I could have coordinates of participants here and Professor Ola, I'll be thankful. Vivek, on this. And I feel we need to have something which is very easy to scan, help us scan, because collections is not an issue. It is the sorting, segregating, and then looking at the next strategy which we need to tackle.
Surely, ma'am, we will definitely share the contact details of the people with you. And
because we are stuck at that. My project is not getting through because they say they don't have a scanner. Everything else is lined up.
Okay, we will definitely liaise with different expertise with you, and we will share the details.
And I have also shared a link with you to the company that is doing our sorting.
Fine. So we will get these details what have been presented. Can it be shared across mails to all the participants? So I can give my institutions also who are already working in India these details, and they can make their proposals accordingly.
Yeah, so what we will do, ma'am, after the event, we generally share the recordings of the event where the presentations of the different experts will be done. Also, the presentations available with us, we will share with you so that the people can contact the experts and the potential partners across Europe and India.
Submitting their proposals, what are the dates for this? By when they have to submit the proposals?
So, Martin, do you have the dates? I have the dates with me. The first call, which is single stage, the date is 22nd February 2024. And the second call, which is two stage, again, the first stage is 22nd February 2024.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions to Martin, please feel free. We can take a questions on the scope of the call. So we can still have 5 minutes to go for that.
Vic, I'm seeing questions in the Q&A.
Yeah.
So we can maybe take them now, Martin, if that's okay with you. The first question is about, can post-consumer be also in other sectors like construction industry? the post-consumer use.
Post-consumer use, you mean whether it needs to be a closed loop recycling or whether the secondary raw material can go into construction?
Yeah, I guess so.
The objective of this is to close the loop. So we're looking into textiles to textiles loops very clearly.
Okay. Martin, there's another question about clarifying. What do you mean by clustering the two calls? You were mentioning that.
Thank you for this question. Yeah, that's probably not very clear. That's kind of a jargon that we're using in the Horizon Europe. Clustering means that every project on the Horizon Europe has a package on communication and dissemination, so sharing knowledge and expertise. And clustering, by clustering, we mean that projects working under these two calls should find a way to transfer the knowledge and to create some kind of a communication platform to share the practices and the findings among themselves. And to maybe just to explain, there already exist today platforms. I can provide some information on that which enable this actually. So projects working on different parts of textile circularity are clustered under a specific platform to share knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that. We have one question from the attendees who would like to directly ask. Swati Sudhakar.
Yeah, hello, hi.
Please.
Thank you, Dr. Samrat and Dr. Martin. This is Professor Swati from IIT Madras. I just have a quick question. And in the first call for the single stage submission, I said, can we focus on also the bio-based solution for the post-consumer textile problems? So kind of bacteria, bioremediations. So for the bio-based solutions for this problem, can we also focus on that area?
Thank you for this question. This is very clear. Yes, you can focus on bio-based textiles, bio-based fibers specifically. So you can absolutely look into post-consumer bio-based textiles waste, basically, and looking into solutions for that.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you so much. We have, I think, maybe time for two more questions, Vivek. Is that okay? Martin, is that okay? Yeah. Another question comes from in the chat is, to what extent does the scope of the first call include policy perspectives, looking at enabling conditions producing countries?
That the first call, which is on sorting, collection and recycling, is not looking. It's not focused on policy solutions. It's looking at technological and value chain solutions, basically in the manufacturing and all the value chain. So policy is not a priority in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And lastly, can the proposal can be the R&D, or only final solutions need to be submitted? Also, kindly suggest if the proposal on greening the supply chain can be submitted.
I'm not sure if I understand the question, the first one
So
specifically.
is it a proposal on R&D, or does it have to include final solutions? And kindly suggest if a proposal on greening the supply chain can be submitted as well.
Yeah, so on the first question, if I understand it correctly, this is about R&D. So as I said, we're looking into TRL 5 to 6 for the first one and 6 to 8 on the second one. So we're looking into R&D. And the second question, whether the proposal on greening the supply chain can be submitted. Well, I don't know specifically what is meant here by greening the supply chain, but that is the red line going through both of the chains. So we're looking in essentially greening the supply chain, obviously looking into sustainable solutions. So obviously we're looking into more bio-based materials, bio-based fibers, or those which preferably would not be fossil-based in ideal case. But of course, they're not out of the scope. Everything is out of scope because we're material. The call is material neutral, I would say.
Okay. Thank you so much, Martin. And I think it's been very interesting so far, and also thank you so much, ma'am, being very engaging and presenting also the question which are there from the Indian side, and I think that makes it very important today that we have a dialogue between both sides. And Martin, thanks again for joining us. I know you have to leave for another meeting, so with that we conclude Martin's session and move on to the next speaker, which is Dr. Vivek himself. He will talk now about the technical aspects of this call, the guidelines for participation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Samrat. Ma'am, I'm going to give you a technical presentation on how to apply and modalities of funding from the European side. But if you have any other engagement, please feel free to quit anytime. We will brief you later on.
Listening to you. I normally remain on chat. I have another engagement, but I'm listening to you. And what I would want that whatever you present, if that is given, I have certain institutions who are dedicatedly working. Rather, if we have this International Cotton Advisory Committee 81st plenary from 2nd December to 5th December, wherein these issues have been part of one of the policy session and World Cafe also. So we are looking at it very dedicatedly to develop solutions and commitments among all the stakeholders to tackle this issue. Thank you, Vivek, for calling me. We would look forward together on this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, Samrat, could you please confirm if I'm full screen and visible?
It's there. Yeah, perfect, Vivek.
Good afternoon. I'm Vivek from the Research and Innovation section at the EU delegation. I'm going to quickly give you the technical aspects of the call, how to apply, what are the funding modalities, and how to find the partners, some tips. So this is in the context of Horizon Europe. We have in the month of June, we also had a meeting with the Ministry of Textile where Commissioner Ma'am was a part of the delegation. So we presented the possibility of collaboration in textiles as well. So I will just in next 15-20 minutes, I will give you what are the modalities of cooperation. So this is what I will just cover you in next 15-20 minutes. So as you probably heard, the EU is having a framework program. Earlier framework program is called Horizon 2020, now the Horizon Europe. And India is quite an active and very engaging partner with the EU. And in last program, Horizon 2020, around 83 grants with the Indian entities were signed, where 44 million euros were co-funded by Government of India, whereas on exceptional basis, the EU had funded 2.4 million to the Indian partners. We are in the second, the new program called Horizon Europe, which will run from 21 to 27. So as of today, we have 13 grants signed. So that also underlines the importance. And there is co-funding for the Government of India for 11 calls. Unfortunately, the textile is not among those, but we have certain successful projects under those calls. And so far, 2.1 million euro has been exceptionally funded by European Commission to the Indian entities. So this is what the Horizon Europe program is. As I mentioned, this is probably world's biggest publicly funded research and innovation program with an funding of 95.5 billion euros. And it is open to the entire world. It is multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary program. And we are trying to tackle basically the societal challenges defined by under the UN. So climate change, sustainable development, and competitiveness of the EU is one of those main areas where the program revolves around. So as Martin mentioned already, this program is divided into 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is excellence. Pillar 2 is tackling global challenges, and pillar 3 is about the innovation. So under pillar 1 is more idea driven, where the researchers are given a free hand to develop a research program. PhD, postdoc, idea driven projects are funded under excellence. Whereas today's call falls under the pillar 2, which is global challenges, specifically the challenge on climate, circular economy. That is what we are targeting in today's call. So these are some technical definitions. I'm going to leave my presentation with you, but I will be using quite frequently the EU funding and tender portal. There will be a requirement of EU login, the PIC, the participation identification code, but I will come to those points later in my presentations. So what Martin was presented two calls. There are these Horizon calls are divided in different actions. First action is called research and innovation action, where the TRL, technology readiness level, is targeted from 4 to 6 level. Whereas the second call, which is mainly on innovation action, where the TRL level are much more higher, where the TRL is 6 to 8 level is generally targeted, where the prototype testing kind of facilities and technologies are encouraged. So this is what the technology readiness level, different explanations are available on the Horizon portal. I'm going to leave that TRL level descriptions with you so that you can also see at what level your technology is right now and how far you can take forward. So this is what the TRL level define under the Horizon Europe program. So as I mentioned, this Horizon Europe is technically open to the entire world. Any research entity can participate in this particular program. So we support two types of activities: collaborative research and innovation projects. And we also support the individual researchers, that is PhD, postdoc, under the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions. Staff exchange also we support, as well as under the European Research Council, where the path-breaking ideas are supported. But I'm going to focus only on the R&D program today. So that is what the focus is of today's call. So all our research and innovation proposals are selected on a competitive basis. We uh, publish work program every 2 years interval. So this is 23-24 work program, under which 800 research and innovation calls are already published. And this evaluation is done by independent peer review process. On an average, 16% is the average success rate. That also highlights the quality and the competition under this particular program. So why do you have to be part of this multilateral program? What brings so many peoples to this program together? Basically, it is exclusive, very high level research is supported under this. The funding is quite generous. It supports in a range of 5 to 10, 15, 20 million euros. That is the range of projects we had submitted. So it could be from 70 to 100% depending on the eligibility of the institution. It also gives you an visibility on EU as well as a global level. It also gives you an additional network to be grown in different parts of the world. We also under this program, you can tackle the grand challenges defined under that. You will have an access to cutting edge technology, infrastructure, talents. So this is what all this multilateral multinational program brings to you, and a lot of people across the world are participating in this particular program. It is from the academia, it is from the industry, it can be policymakers, you name it. All sorts of stakeholders are part of this particular program. So as I mentioned, all the information of research and innovation calls are available on Horizon Europe portal. Its name is Funding and Tender Portal. This is the keyword for today. Any call text, if you want to refer, please go to the Funding and Tender Portal, and that is the only authentic information which will be available, and you should refer for any development of project proposal. So this is what the Martin has already explained. There are two calls which we are promoting today on circular economy. So these two calls, first call is on action is dedicated more on a technology driven challenge. That is why the TRL level is expected between 6 to 8, and the total average budget for this particular call is 14 million euros. So we anticipate around 3 to 4 projects to be supported under this particular call. The second call is more on a TRL level 5 to 8, that is research and innovation action. And again, the funding is quite substantial, 15 million euros for 3 to 4 projects we anticipate to support. So who can participate? Basically, any researchers, any entity who has a capacity to solve the problem can be part of the consortium. It could be from academia, it could be from the industry, it could be from association, it could be from clusters, you name it. Any entity who has a capacity to contribute to solve the defined challenge is eligible. It could be startups, SMEs, all entities across the sector are eligible to participate as long as they are contributing substantially to identify, resolve the defined problems. So as I mentioned already, this is a multilateral, multinational program. It is a EU program. So basic eligibility condition, I will repeat this quite a few times because this is mandatory requirement. You need to have a consortium where the three legal entities from three different European member states or associated country with the Horizon Europe are required. Three different legal entities from three different member state or associated countries is required. Out of them, one has to be from the member state. You can ask me more questions on this, but this is the basic requirement. You can add more entities from different countries, from Europe, from across the non-European country, from India as well. There is no limit. On an average, the Horizon Europe consortium is from 7 to 10, 15, 20, is depending on the challenge and the magnitude of the challenge which you try to tackle and try to find a solution is depending on that. So these are mega projects where the 7 to 15 on an average, the consortium members are part of these proposals. So who are the member states? So this is the 27 European member states, which are core of this particular program where the funding comes from member state. In addition to that, there are 19 associated countries which are associated exclusively for Horizon Europe program, among which the Norway and Israel is very strong partner with India. Recently, New Zealand has also participated in associated partner. Now, the United Kingdom will be associated partner from the 1st of January onwards. So any entities from 27 plus 19 countries could be eligible as a core three mandatory institution. You can choose from that. So who can be funded? Basically, the European Union funds automatically its member state entities, that is from 27 countries, as well as the associated country, that is the group of 19. Those all entities based in these particular countries are automatically funded under the Horizon Europe program. In addition to that, there are 120 countries which we consider as a low or middle economies are also automatically funded by European Commission. It could be Bangladesh, it could be Sri Lanka, Nepal, Pakistan, you name it. There are 120, and this list is exclusively available on the Horizon Europe website as well. But there are group of 16 countries which we consider as high economy or developed countries are not automatically funded. So those are the countries here, the non-European countries. It is US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, China, India, Brazil, Mexico, Taiwan, you name it. These are the big countries where economy is high and they are not automatically funded. So there is a possibility that you have three different options. One is exceptional funding, co-funding, and specific mention in the call. But this co-funding is not specifically mentioned in this call. So you have two options left. One is exceptional funding and co-funding. As of today, the Ministry of Textile has not yet agreed any co-funding to the Indian entities. So we are going to discuss with the Ministry of Textile if there is an Indian entity, if they can support later on, but that is not guaranteed. But as of today, I will more focus on exceptional funding. If there is a possibility that non-European entities can be funded, there are three criteria or four criteria under which the exceptional funding is also granted on exceptional basis. There are, as of today, 5 Indian entities which received exceptional funding from European Commission. And what is the criteria? If the beneficiaries' participation is found mandatory by the evaluators on three different views or 3 or 4 different aspects. One is outstanding competency, expertise, access to the research infrastructure, access to a geographical environment, as well as the data access. So if you find that your non-European entities is bringing this kind of expertise to the consortium on an exceptional basis, the evaluator may think to give you EU funding directly. If not, then you have to participate on your own funding, or we can also explore a possible co-funding from the government of India, but that is not yet guaranteed at this time. So if you are a beneficiary, if you receive a exceptional funding, the Indian entities along with the European entities will sign European grant agreement as a beneficiary. If you receive government of India co-funding or exceptional funding or your own funding, you will not sign a European grant agreement. You will be considered as an associated partner. In that case, no signing of European Commission agreement is required. So what is funded? Basically, research and innovation action. All types of entities are 100% grant in aid. If it is an innovation action, non-profit organizations receive 70% of funding, and no, profit organizations receive 70% of funding, that is industry-based entities. And if it is academia research institute, they are eligible for 100% funding. The eligible cost is very standard: manpower, consumable, travels, or overheads, outsourcing, other training costs, like for example, organizing workshops, publications, reviews. All these costs are 100% covered under this grant. So admissibility, all the submissions has to be online. This is entire system of Horizon Europe works on an electronic submission process, no paper required. Please make sure that the Indian entities which are not familiar with the Horizon proposal, they have to they have to driven by the European partners to be part of the consortium. So they are doing main job of submitting the proposals. Your job is to feed all the different work packages, and the commitment of work which you will be doing under the program will be given to the coordinator. There is, as I mentioned, there are two types of submission. One is single stage, where the complete proposal is requested by the European Commission, where the page limit is already defined. Whereas the stage one, that is two-stage proposal, where only the concept of idea is initial phase has been requested. Out of that, only 25% of proposals will be invited for the next, that is two-stage proposal. So this is a difference where the we are trying to minimize the workload of scientific community. So this is what the proposal template looks like. There is a part A and part B. Part A is more a structured online information. Part B is where the download format you can download from the website, and where the proposals are entered, jointly developed by the different consortium members. If you are an associated partner, you don't have to give all the funding, the different expenditure heads. There is a specific line has been created under the Horizon Europe portal. Associated partner, you will be only indicating how much amount you will be contributing from your own side or from the government side, so that the evaluators has an overall idea what is the quantity or the overall budget of the proposal. But if you are applying as a beneficiary on exceptional funding, then you need to give all the details of funding in this particular table. So from all this, the consortium formation is most challenging part. You need to have three different legal entities, minimum three legal entities from three different countries, member state or associated country. In additional, you can add more partners across the globe. There is no limitation for that. The partners has to be multidisciplinary, cross borders, cross sectoral partners are highly encouraged. So preparation of consortium, that is what we are trying to do today, is trying to meet the best people across from Europe and India together, so that they can identify each other's strength. If there is an idea to be formed and they are looking for experts, this is the platform we are providing to the researchers and the industry, so that they can identify each other and start developing a proposal. The Cordis is one of the main area, tool through which you can also find a lot of different partners across who are already successful in Horizon project. So this is some tips of how to form a consortium. But I also urge you that at the bottom of this portal where the calls are defined, there is also a partner search. A lot of people had expressed their interest that they are looking for partners or they are available for consortium skills they have available for participating in proposal. So this is what I will not repeat those, but forming an effective and very targeted consortium is very important to be a successful proposal. The key, make sure when you are preparing a proposal, you go through 100 times the scope, impact, and implementation of the call, because we are not going to decode too much of the call text. It is up to the researchers, innovators' wisdom to find the best solution for the challenge which has been defined under the proposal. So this is, again, I will not go into that. The standard evaluation process, as I mentioned, this is one of the best transparent evaluation process you will find across the globe that this program has adapted. So we receive the proposal, independent evaluations are done, then the consensus meeting of the experts are done, then the panel review is done. So the criteria for the evaluation is excellence, impact, and implementation. This is available. So make sure when you are preparing a proposal, your proposal should address those evaluation criteria so that your chances of winning the proposal is much more higher. In a two-stage proposal, the first evaluation only will be done on two criteria, that is on excellence and impact. The full proposal will be evaluated on three criteria. So this is what the ranking is all about. I will not go into that. On an average, the call is open for 3 to 6 months in advance, but the call text is available almost two years in advance. The evaluation on average, we take 5 months period and the 3 months for grants. So from the closure to the grant signing, we are legally bound to start the project within the 8 months time. So this is very strictly followed, and our Indian partners, specifically DST, DBT, and MOES, are also following these timelines. These are the important website which you will be using for partner search. You will also have to log in a EU portal, so you have to create a EU login. I'm going to leave this presentation and slides with you, but the last slide, if you are not part of the evaluation, you are not part of the consortium, or you're not going to propose a proposal, but you want to be associated with the program, we are looking for an experts across the globe to evaluate our proposals. On an average, we receive 10 to 12,000 proposals per batch. So if you think you have a skills, ability, and expertise to evaluate this proposal, please register in our database so that your name is included in database for an independent experts. And if you are selected, we not only value your expertise, but the European Commission also provides a substantial amount of grant, or rather than money for your efforts. On an average, 3,000 to 4,000 euros are paid per evaluator as an experts for their work. I urge you, those people who want to be part of the evaluation team, please register yourself. This is our website. Your access to Europe is EURAXESS. Please write to us. All our communication is done through EURAXESS India. This is one of the best website to find information on regular basis. And I wish you all the best for and quality proposal. I will stop it here and look forward any questions if you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for guiding the participants through this technical aspects of the call and eligibility, and fleshing out, like a bit the parts where, there are some questions regarding especially the funding and so forth. And here we already go into questions which we have received. Vivek, we can take a few minutes for that. There's a question, I think from the UK. It's about, can you please confirm whether or not UK researchers are eligible to collaborate and be funded?
Yeah, so if you see on the Horizon Europe website, and in my slide as well, the UK will be associated as a legal entity or entities from 1st of January. All the regular updates you have to go from the Horizon Europe portal. And as of today, the process is on. What we had informed that the UK will be an associated partner with Horizon Europe. You can participate as an associated partner. You are eligible for EU funding from 1st of January onwards. So please follow the updates on the website so that you are well informed regularly. But the information, you are associated partner, that's for sure, from 1st of January.
Perfect. Thank you so much for highlighting this, Vivek. And I see we have one raised hand, Miguel Sanchez. Would you like to ask something? You had raised your hand earlier.
Yes, I was wanted to ask what's the difference between innovation action and research innovation action? Is that related to the TRL levels or is it something else?
No, basically your TRL level. So we are different TRL levels for research and innovation action. That is what my slide mentions, that the TRL level are defined under the different calls. So that also in an innovation action, if the industry is participating, the EU contribution is 70 to 80%, depending on but the research entities, it could be academia or research institute, are fully funded under the innovation action. So the only private industry gets 70 to 80% of funding under innovation action. If it is a research and innovation action, everybody gets 100% grant in aid.
Okay. I think we can take one or two more questions. Maybe some of the speakers, presenters who are here with us would like to ask something to Vivek about the participation from the Indian side, or any general questions to clarifications. I think now we could take that. Otherwise, if not, then
so I just appeal everyone that already Samrat and Elida had mentioned that please put this information, tag us on our social media. We want to reach it to the maximum people so that the people can participate, be aware of this particular call. So urge all of you to promote this event through your social media account, and the calls are available, and we will be more than happy to support you in the process of developing a proposals, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vivek. Yeah, that would be, of course, a great support if you can, spread the word about this event, and also, of course, about the calls, and see if there would be a larger interest, among your network of colleagues who would be interested in this call. With that, I think we move to the next part of our event today, which is the flash presentations, and we're very much looking forward to them. We have some researchers who would like to present their project idea, their expertise offer, and reach out to the community here working on similar topics. And I would like to invite our first speaker, which is Ms. Leida Rinhout. I hope I pronounced it correctly. From the Netherlands. She's the CEO for the World Fair Trade Organization. And thank you so much for coming to the webinar, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think I would like to thank you for organizing this broker event. I think it's really interesting for us as a smaller organization to get in touch with other partners, potential partners for this call. I'm the CEO of the World Fair Trade Organization. We are an association of hundreds of fair trade enterprises, social enterprises, SMEs, mostly working around the globe, working according the 10 fair trade principles. Many of our members that are based in Asia, India, but also Bangladesh and Nepal, they are working in textile. So for us, it's a very important issue. I'm also here now representing Ubuntu, which is an organization we work with. It is an organization that creates platforms, that build platforms between everybody who is connected to it. It is called the Environmental Solutions Platform. So they are focusing on environmental solutions, environmental innovation, but also connecting each other. And they're making use of AI as well. I don't know if I can share my screen. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so because yeah, okay, so so what we are offering in this let's say matchmaking event is our network, which is in our case of World Fair Trade organizations, many SMEs in Asia, and also a lot of them in India, working in textiles. Let's see. So what we propose together with Ubuntu is to unite the small-scale enterprises across Asia and, of course, also India. I think what is important for us is that when we talk about circular economy, that we also include the social dimension in it. And that's why I think we are maybe interesting for other partners as well, because as we are already combining the environmental dimension with the social dimension, I think I think it's a great match. What we also offer is fostering collaborative relationships between the enterprises, and then also covering the whole supply chain. As Fairtrade, as WFTO, we are verifying the whole enterprise, so the whole supply chain. So don't confuse us with Fairtrade International, who is certifying a commodity, but we are really verifying the whole supply chain from the raw material until the end consumer. And I think this project, or this potential project, is also very interesting to see after the consumer. I mean, really the extended producer responsibility, which we also think is super important to stress. It's also creating a platform. I think what is important, especially with this kind of horizon projects, is that it also gets alive after the project is done. So if there is a platform where enterprises, but also consumers, researchers, etc., are connected, that can also be maintained after the program, and even extended if there is a need, and of course also the funding for it. So who we are, as I said, World Fair Trade Organization is the global verifier of enterprises, so not commodities, enterprises. We have high standards and guidelines for our members. There is a verification system behind that, but I think what is more important for this program is that we really have a network from the raw material until the end. I think what is also important, because in the introduction it was said that the focus is not on policy making. I do agree on that, but sometimes I think it's necessary, because we have several cases in our membership that the producers are working with bio-based materials like banana leaves or whatever. They make rugs of it, but they cannot export it because it's not allowed to come into Europe because it's not known. So I think policy making is always, I think, a part if you talk about innovation, etc., also because it has to find a way, and policy could not be an obstacle for not using it. Ubuntu is an environmental platform, as I said. They uses AI-enabled and expertly curation of practical knowledge. They also, it harnesses also the capabilities of the large language models. I have to admit that I'm less introduced in what they do, but if there are more questions on that, one of my colleagues, Fabiola, she's in the participants. So I think for more technical questions, we can always ask her to give the information as well. I think this was already mentioned a lot in the introduction. I mean, what are the challenges, etc. So we are really very interested in working on that. As a network of SMEs based in India, we have also a legal entity in India. We have a legal entity in Holland. The same for Ubuntu, by the way. So it's a coincidence. That's why we are quite interested in being a partner of a consortium that is formed after this call, and maybe other calls that will done. So we have absolutely not the ambition to take a lead in any consortium. But I think it's very interesting for other potential partners that want to create a consortium to at least do some investigation if we would be very valid partners, because what we can offer, I think, is something that mainly university cannot offer, because we are really on the field. Our members are working with textiles. I think any innovation should be tested on the field as well, and that's something that our network could do. This is us. I mean, so those will be the people that will be involved, especially in the beginning. Afterwards, we will see, depending on funding, of course, if we can hire other people. But I think with this team, you already have something which can be an added value for any consortium to be formed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation, and we are hoping that this could stipulate some collaboration between your organization and partners for this particular call. And with that, we move to our next presenter, which is Professor Olof Wallberg. He is professor at Lund University in Sweden. And Professor Wallberg, thank you so much for joining. The floor is yours.
Yes, and thank you for having me here. First of all, can you see my slides?
Yes.
Great. So I'm professor at chemical engineering at Lund University. Our background is that we have been working with lignocellulose and cellulose materials for more years than I've been here, but 25, 30 years, mainly related to biofuels production. And we've done this, for instance, in collaboration with DBT IOC in India. 4 or 5 years ago, we started looking at the possibility of using our knowledge and apply that to textile recycling, specifically then cotton and viscose recycling. And we have since then developed 3 different processes or process steps in which we can recycle textiles, cotton or viscose-based textiles, either to a cellulose pulp, to a sugar solution that can then be used to produce building blocks for new textiles. Or, I mean, a sugar solution you can use to produce quite a lot of things. But in this context, we're looking at textile material. Or we can even do fiber-to-fiber recycling. Much of that we do together with partners because spinning of these solutions aren't typically our core competence. We work with the entire process from dissolving of cellulose, regeneration of cellulose, or then downgrading it to monomeric sugars. We see this as a necessity because anything we do in terms of recycling will affect the quality of the material, and we can't recycle indefinitely, I would say. So when the cellulose material or cellulose-based material has become degraded in the use, it needs to be downcycled to glucose and then upcycled again to something, I would say. So the process that we have developed is a dissolution of textiles in an inorganic solvent at moderate temperatures, so 60 to 90 degrees, and then reprecipitation of the material. So if you look at the cellulose pulp on the far left there, it actually started as stamp-sized pieces of cloth that we dissolved and then reprecipitated, and it comes out looking as a pulp. So no structure of the previous material left. What's unique about what we can do is that we can retain the quality of the fibers. So we can, if we start with a cotton material with a high degree of polymerization, we can retain that that degree of polymerization to a large extent. I mean, we lose some, but maybe we lose 5 or maximum 10% in each recycling step. So we can recycle cotton to cotton and viscose to viscose a certain number of times. Exactly how many, we don't know yet. That's an unanswered question. Because we haven't put anything on the market, so to speak. So we don't know what will happen with the fabric once it actually gets used. I would say that many steps of this process is on a TRL 4 to 5 at the moment. We have done a fairly large scale. I can't remember if it was 20 or 50 kilos of dissolution and reprecipitation. So part of this process is on quite high TRL. Some of our understanding of the process is on TRL2. I mean, we are applied researchers that when we find something that we find interesting, we run with it and it works. But there are certain aspects of the process which we would like to know a little bit more about. So how are the actual dissolution mechanism, what does it look like? So from an implementation point of view, might not be the most interesting question, but for me as a researcher, could be a good thing to know. And the recovery of the solvent that we're using is economical by a conventional process. We are not cycling the concentration of this solvent between very high and very low concentrations. We are working at about 70% concentration to start with, and the reprecipitation is done at 40%. So we're cycling at fairly high concentration and quite low amounts of water in that sense, which is good, of course. Quite a lot of the development that we've been doing has been done in cooperation with a company called Textile AB, situated also in Sweden. And we've been working with Rice Institutes of Sweden and others for spinning the material. So we've actually used this cellulose pulp that was produced to run it through the normal viscose process to produce new staple fibers. We have 2 ongoing national funded projects and 1 EURAXESS project in which we are developing various parts of this already. But we're looking for ways and means to move faster because we believe in this process. We believe that we can produce a unique material and the process is also robust. Exactly how robust is something that we need to, or that we are actually looking at the moment, but which we need to look into further. So how much polycotton can we accept into the process. We know that we can accept the polyesters into the process. It's a matter of process design and equipment design, but we don't know if we can allow 10, 25, or 50% of polyesters into the process. Yet. We're looking at that. In terms of moving further in TRL, at Lund University, we have what we call Lund University pre-pilot plants. So we have an apparatus hall in which we can build quite substantial sized equipment. And we do have some of the equipments available already for dissolution and precipitation, enzymatic process and separation processes. This can be further added to, provided that we have funding for it and partners that are interested in the results. So we're looking for partners to apply to with in this call. Could be upstream or downstream of our process, could be those working with spinning technology, could be those that work with polyester recycling, for instance, and anything in this area, I would say. But we are typically working with the recycling process. And this is a process that we strongly believe in. It's actually very cool. So that's it with me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Wallberg, and hoping that you will find partners who would be interested to join hands in what you have been working at. And with that, we move to our next presenter, which is Dr. Kirsi Mantua-Komonen from Aalto University, Finland. Dr. Komonen, are you with us? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hi, thank you.
Let me see how I can share my screen. Sorry about that.
I think you had it on the screen and now it disappeared again. Perfect.
Do you see it now?
Yeah, if you just move back to the first slide.
First slide, yes. Okay, great.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you very much for the event and the opportunity. Just wanted to show our weather. We have a lot of snow already, so greetings from snowy Finland. I'm proposing a sub-project which focuses on design for recycling, and it's called Herbiviral, and it's about the plant-based dye which can render textiles antiviral. So first of all, a couple of words about Aalto University and what we are doing with textile chemistry research and education, and then a few more words about the sub-project that we are proposing, and then my contact information. So Aalto University has a lot of experience in various EU projects concerning textile development. Our professors are very much into the closed loop thinking and are working with leading brands and manufacturers. And since the regenerated fibers has become big also here in Finland, so there is a new program for textile design and chemistry minor, which is run by Professor Ali Tehrani, who is my main partner at Aalto University. And his research areas span over coloration and printing, chemical treatments and finishing, and electrospun membranes. And as mentioned, we have a new textile chemistry and design minor in Aalto University, which is run together with Professor Maarit Salolainen from the Department of Textile Design. And this herbiviral project stems from an idea for trying to find added value for the natural dyes so that it would be more lucrative and worthwhile for the industry to do the big change, not just because it is less harmful, but because it would be also profitable. And with a pilot study I conducted last year and previous year at University of Jyväskylä, I had selected 7 natural dyes based on literary analysis, and we showed that 4 out of them actually inhibited coronaviruses on both cellulosic and protein-based fibers. And building on that research, we have now established a consortium here in Finland that we can produce plant-based dye or other treatment, if not a dye. So for the development, characterization, and structural bioactivity analysis, including antiviral assessment. And we would be interested in joining a consortium which is designing biodegradable medical textiles for easy recycling, so without any plastics. And we can bring the expertise in the antiviral dye, or then another larger consortium which would have more specific focus on natural dyes. And we can bring in the expertise in analyzing and designing the functional properties. So the antiviral is maybe the hot topic still for the next over the next few years. But of course, other treatments such as antibacterial, UV protection, and UV absorbent are also interesting and already being developed. So considering the call for Horizon funding, so our contribution would be to natural dyes, contributing to minimizing the hazardous substances, and on the other hand, deploying innovative solutions for increased quality, non-toxicity, and durability. So the fibers or the textiles that have been dyed with these natural materials would be much easier to recycle. And then the key contribution on top of this, what Horizon wishes, is the target for creating added functional values and increasing profitability. So if you're interested, please send me email or contact me some other way. I'm really interested in discussing cooperation opportunities. We are not going to make our own project, but I have a possibility to support the application next year very much if we find a suitable collaboration consortium. Thank you very much for this event and opportunity, and nice to hear really interesting presentations from my Ulla and Dutch colleague.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mantua Kumanen, for your intervention and for the offer you were having to join a consortium with your expertise. And with that, we move to our next presenter, which is Dr. Suchita Jha, Assistant Professor at the Symbiosis Institute of Business. Dr. Suchita, are you with us? Kirsi, if you could kindly stop sharing your screen.
Sorry.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, Dr. Suchita. Yeah, we can see your screen. Just your audio seems to be a bit low. Is there a way you could increase it?
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better now.
Thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity. And actually, I'm new to this process. So, the first time I'm presenting in the Erasmus and I got to know about this. I hope it was a good opportunity. So basically, our project, I'm looking for one of the topics, which is influencing sustainable fashion practices through luxury resale dynamics. And we are looking for the role of influencers. How can they help in refashion? So our study is centered around the authenticity, the assurance aspect, and the delivery. And basically, we will be exploring the role of influencers, how they can shape up the fashion industry. So we are looking for someone who can help us in the data collection process and in those who have the expertise in the qualitative data collection. And we will be looking for some kind of publications with the good opportunities. And the objective of this research project is to investigate the role of the influencers dynamics, as I mentioned earlier. And we also saw that with the European Commission's refashion initiative, how our project can be aligned with the circular business model. And we would like to decode the complexities of the luxury resale product, emphasizing on the three of the aspects, which is impacting the fashion choices. The methodology, what we are thinking of is three of the aspects which we would like to focus on, where we would like to focus on the influencers advertisement as the moderator, and the payment and the delivery's impact on the behavior, and then the authenticity assurance and the user experience analysis. That how luxury fashion resale platforms can understand the effectiveness of the authenticity, which is through the role of the influencers. And we are looking for basically with the outcomes where the key contribution of the user experience and trust in the luxury resale platform can be created. And the next one is the environmental implication, which is majorly impacting the fashion industry, and to understand the effectiveness of influencer advertisement in promoting the sustainable fashion consumption and circular business model. So this is what is our idea. We're looking for the interesting collaborations. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suchita. And we are now at the end of the presenters according to our agenda. However, I look at the watch and I see that we have a few more minutes, so we could use them either for some ad hoc speakers who would like to, reach out and present their expertise or their idea now to our speakers, or, we can take a few questions. It's all up to us now because we have a few more minutes. So if you would like to, say something or ask something, you have the opportunity now to come on the virtual stage. Okay, I see there are not so many.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, like when I have presented this, so suppose how do I know about the collaborations? How do I know about that, whom I can collaborate? So I need to search, and when I missed actually some of the part of the presentation, so I'll just go through, and probably that is how we need to go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Suchita, so there are in the beginning of the webinar, we had two speakers who were presenting the scope, the modalities of the call, and also how to find partners. There are dedicated tools which you can use. One of these tools is, of course, this brokerage event where you will get the recording and the presentations of your fellow speakers, and you can reach out. The other is there are dedicated website links of the European Commission where you can also put in your expressive interest if you are interested in specific calls like the one we are presenting today. Then you can reach out through that. And we, of course, recommend you, if you have the opportunity, to watch the first part of the recording, which you said you just missed out on. That I think would help you to understand much better the scope and modalities and how the mechanisms work for this kind of Horizon Europe calls.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, I'll do that.
Samrat, you are mute.
I was just telling that I see you back on the screen, and Vivek, what do you think? Should we kind of come to a conclusion?
There is one more raise hand I can see if they have question. Lisa.
Oh yeah. Okay, I will just allow that person to speak. That's Lisa McIntyre.
Hello. Hi. I don't know if you can hear and see me, but
we can hear you. Please.
hi. So I'm Lisa McIntyre. I'm a textile technologist, and I've got a few projects at the moment working on thermomechanical recycling of polyester. We're at a fairly early stage with that, maybe TRL 3-4, but we're working with a partner who's just waiting for a new pelletizer machine. So we've got some expertise in that. We're also working on microplastic testing for microplastic shed during wear of textiles. And we're also looking at several projects looking at consumer behavior and methods to support consumers who wish to be more sustainable but currently lack the tools to do that. I'd be very happy to collaborate with people, but I'm new to the Horizon framework, and also being in the UK, we have made life a little bit more difficult for ourselves recently, shall we say. But I'm very open to collaboration and would be happy to engage with anybody on projects.
Lisa, I request you if you can send us a slide, 1 or 2 slides with your contact details and keywords, so that we can circulate within the group, so that the people are aware that you are available for the potential partner.
Sure, I can do that. We'll do that.
You can send it to Samrat, so that is much easy to share with the participant.
I will do. Thank you.
And I see, Pierrick, you also had raised your hand.
Yes, I'm joining you at the end now, but one point, Lisa, and for all the colleagues around the table, specifically to the UK, Lisa, maybe it was a pity, but some on your island didn't want to stay in Europe, but the UK is back in the framework research program. So we have to exactly and precisely look at the modalities, but you can be eligible for funding. Again, I need to say, we have to see how the funding is flowing back now, because UK is back in the Horizon, but you are eligible. So consider it a very positive, very good news.
Thank you very much.
And having heard many of you presenting, I think the issue is when you put a proposal to be very careful with the scope, because sometimes you are a little bit outside, and then the selection is so high that the little variation of covering too many aspects, and if you, let's say, are very ambitious, you cover 3-4 aspects, but if 2 of them are out of scope, you definitely will not make it. So sometimes it's better to be more precise, even though it's a large project, as we were saying, as Martin was saying. But absolutely, if you are not sure, you can still link back with Samrat and Vivek in my team. We can guide and we can ask the colleagues, but absolutely avoid to be out of scope.
Thank you so much, Pierrick, for your intervention, and also for this very important tip about the scope. I see there's one question we have in the Q&A. It's about that at the presently there are no co-funding from the Ministry of Textile, and there's still a process, as we discussed in the start. So how shall we know that co-funding has been agreed or not? Like, is there a time frame, or is it just still something which, is in the initial process of discussion? Like maybe Vivek or Pierrick, you could give some input.
Is very valid and important question. As of today, there is no co-funding agreed by Ministry of Textile. So this is like a ad hoc call which we had proposed to them. So what at this point we can say that to be very honest, that there is no co-funding exists for this particular call, but there are two possibilities which I already mentioned. One is you can try for an exceptional funding, presenting your valuability in the consortium so that on exceptional basis you may get an co-funding from the European Commission. Or the second thing, once the project is approved, there are two possibilities. Either you directly approach to the ministry. If we have some understanding, we will let you know. But as of today, there is no understanding. But one way that a lot of people are approaching directly to the ministry for a national funding from the government, or some people are using intramural research grant of the institute. So this is what the scenario is as of today.
Maybe Samrat, I will add
sure.
I will add a few remarks. If, for example, Lisa or Professor Ola Valberg are interested to have Indian partners, I will still, even though the issue of funding is not certain, I will still encourage them to bring them on board. And think that it's not always required to have it as a full partner. Of course, it's better, but here we are speaking about a relatively high TRL. So, which means if the European bring Indian companies, especially the Indian companies are not looking necessarily at government Indian funding, and even the academics, they might look at funding, but the academics could be involved, for example, in a steering board. They could, by being in a steering board, by being associated to the project, even though there is no direct funding in the first year at least, will help them to be informed. So it's a way that the European will design the project. If the European put money aside, for example, to have a steering board, to have regular meetings where they can finance external people, at least the travels and maybe part of the work could be financed that way. So it's possible. The colleagues in Europe know all the way to use the mechanism. But if you look for a large chunk of money, it's true that right now we don't have the agreement. It's something that if there is an interest, and if we have real pilots and the textile commissioner was present, I'm sure that we will find a way with Indian government. So I am relatively positive. So at least don't limit because there is no money. This would be the wrong approach.
Thank you so much, Pierrick. I think this is a very good lane to pursue and to look into what you were just explaining. I see that we have one speaker, one attendee who would like to say something. Yana Sorvari, let me just give you the possibility to use your mic, and then you can, if she's there. Okay, I'm not able to find her. Okay, I think she left the webinar. Okay, I don't see any more questions at the moment. And I would just say, like, you know, we can just kind of wrap up today's very engaging and interesting session. I think we had a lot of exchange of thoughts and ideas and questions, and I think from both sides, from the European side and the Indian side, and I think it was a very fruitful discussion. And I'm looking very much forward, of course, to see if there will be possible joint hands and consortiums being formed. That would be, of course, the best outcome of today's brokerage event. What do you think, Pierrick and Vivek?
Yes,
I think Samrat, I think she's trying to get the microphone. Can you try one more time?
No, I'm not able to. I was trying. Let me just figure out while you just go on.
Okay. No, I think what Pierrick had mentioned correctly, that please go ahead with the proposal formation with the Indian entities that is bringing an additional value to the project as well. And what we are trying to do is to bring best people across the board from India and Europe, so that very competitive proposals, because on an average 3 proposals are expected to co-fund. So we anticipate at least 1 proposal with the Indian entities if it is there, and then we can also have a discussion with the respective ministries if they can provide an some kind of a funding approach. But it is premature to promise in a public forum anything, but we will definitely try our best. But we encourage everyone to be part of the proposal preparation, and this will be a rewarding and beneficial for both the sides. I will stop it here. Over to you, Pierrick.
Yes, I will give a few comments. Number one, please, colleagues, stay in touch with Samrat and Vivek, because we delegation are little tiny element in this entire process of making joint projects. But we are at the kernel of information. I'll give you an example. This morning I was speaking with a colleague who is financing projects in the domain of leather industry. So here today, my colleague from Brussels was speaking about 2 specific calls, but there are other initiatives. We cannot present everything. So I encourage both the European who took time today to stay online, and the Indian to inform us. So inform us, especially on the way if you are going to present a proposal. We are not involved in the selection, I have to be clear. So we can guide, but we are not selecting. It's other colleagues, other bodies. And then we will know if you are successful, it's good, and we will continue to link with you because we are the EU embassy to India. But if it's not successful, or if it doesn't fit for that time, for that specific call, at least we would like to continue to have you on our list, because we have different initiatives, and each initiative has a different scope. So this is just to say that it's a kind of learning process in research, especially and in innovation. We also are well aware of what the EU countries are doing with India. So we can even guide you with other EU countries like France, Germany, or others who could have in your sector specific actions. So Samrat, I will, if we are at the stage of concluding, I will just thank you and thank you all to all the speakers, to my colleagues also in Brussels, and to all the people in Europe and in India. As I said in my short introduction, textile is probably, and the circularity of economy is probably win-win with India, because Europe can definitely learn from the waste management in which India is facing, maybe with cheap solutions made in India, and opposite. We have excellent teams, and I'm happy to have them on the screen today in Europe to work with you. So thank you. Don't hesitate to contact us, all the colleagues from Europe, including UK now, back on Horizon Europe. Over to you, Samrat.
Thank you so much, Pierrick, for the concluding remarks. And as you said, it's a win-win for both sides. And I think this topic is super relevant, and we're really looking forward to seeing a positive outcome. And thank you so much to all the speakers, presenters, for your excellent interventions. And we're wishing you all the best and good luck in finding, the right partners. And of course, as Pierrick said, we are here to facilitate. And if you want to reach out to us, please, stay in touch. And with that, wishing all of you a late afternoon here in India and a good lunchtime in Europe. And thank you so much. Take care. See you. Bye.